I'd like to call the meeting to order.
I didn't think so.
This is pledge of allegiance first. Join me in saluting the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Compliance with the Open Public Meetings Law, this notice of this meeting has been provided to the public in accordance with the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act by publication in the designated official newspapers and circulated or posted in the Salem County Clerk's Office and the SCIA office. Roll call.
All right. Susan Beswick?
Here.
Ronald Howard?
Here.
Lou Schneider?
Here.
Peter Boros?
Here.
Robert Littlefield?
Here. In the minutes, tab 1. Minutes of the rescheduled meeting, January 28th. Take a motion.
I move that we approve the approve.
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I can't do that one.
Oh, I can't, because it wasn't there.
January 28th. Move Mr. Howard. Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Yes.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I'd like to request a couple amendments to the minutes after I look through them. First to the January 28th minutes for the public comment to reflect my question to Chairman over about concerning the external correspondence to Mr. Telsey that was seemed to be deleted. I think Director Turner Fox had said that maybe she would check into it, maybe it was omitted, maybe looked over, or an oversight. So
Okay,
I'd like it to reflect that.
In the public comment period?
Yeah, in the public comment section. And also, it was in the minutes that the matter relating to the employment relationship appears in the executive session. That was not the case. There were 2 items under executive session, and both, I was told by counsel that they both dealt with county business, so I recused myself, left, and that was not discussed, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it was reconvened in public session.
Yeah, I think the vote was made in public. I had to leave, but
and it appears in the minutes of the executive session, so I'd like to have that placed in the appropriate section under the public meeting. And the February 3rd meeting minutes?
Can we take on the
yes. Yeah, on the 28th meeting, the regular meeting, is that it on that?
Yes.
That's the motion.
Yes.
Second one forward.
And the action is reflected in those minutes that was taken in public session. The meeting
Yes,
adjourned to go to
no
closed
issue.
session. The meeting went into closed session, executive session.
Yes, no
After which the
discussion.
discussion was there for closed session minutes. And then the actions reconvened in public session and then reflected in the open session minutes.
Executive session, 3 bullets, matter relating to.
Taking time.
These are the executive session. This is the motion to go into executive session, followed by the minutes for executive session. These are the actions taken after executive session and public session.
Thank you for the clarification.
Okay.
And I have a quick question for my sister. And in there I saw one vote was 3-1-1, and the final verdict was 3-2, and the other situation was 3-1-1, and it came out as 3-1-1. There's no difference. I'm not going to get excited about either one, but an abstention is in essence a no. Is that correct? Would it be a final?
Well, it would not be a vote in favor.
Okay.
Okay, I mean, so it wouldn't count as a vote in favor. I never like calling it a no vote. It's just not
Okay.
anything in favor.
Yeah, it's just one situation where it's the same situation appeared twice. One time it said the final vote was 3-2, and the other time it says 3-1-1, even though it reflected everybody's individual vote.
Right. Well, I'm assuming it said 3-1-1. Maybe one was. I don't know what the minutes are, but I'm assuming maybe the one was one abstention.
Yeah, both times it was 3 abstention, 1 no, and 3 yeses. And the final part, instead of saying 3-2, one said 3-1-1, the other said 3-2.
So that would be
Just
2
means-
no votes. I'm assuming.
It wasn't.
Oh, it wasn't.
What I'm saying
okay.
is it was 3-1-1, and then it summarizes at the bottom. It always says 5-0 or whatever.
Right.
In this case, it said 3-1-1. In the other case, it said 3-2. What it should say is 3-1-1. Is that correct?
I would like it to reflect the abstention, so
Okay,
if it doesn't reflect it, it probably should reflect
You
that.
win.
Okay,
Well,
Mr. Probst,
no, it
were you all
needs to be
set?
amended.
Is there a
though.
particular vote? on
I
it?
have to find it. I didn't want to bring it up. It didn't affect the result of what we did.
No, but it
No, you
should
wanna-
have a correct, it should reflect the correct vote. I mean, we can find it and amend that for sure. We can do it the next time if we have to, but.
Make a motion, we table this until they get their act together. Let's move on.
Deb, I would like to see though, so that there isn't any confusion anymore, that, you know, you have underlined, you know, public comment, or I mean, public session, and then you go to executive session. All it was, it looked like what was discussed that came out to public session was actually an executive. All it needs is, I think, a heading, change of heading. See where you have you see how you have public?
What page are you? Executive session?
Yes. It was just referenced back to what Dale said. I just think it needs to have a heading that shows that you went back to public session.
Understood.
Yeah.
And we'll work with the secretary on that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we had a motion and a second. Your comments are all taken care of?
That's correct.
And
Thanks.
yours? Is there, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, executive session, is that all included on that?
No, you took, my records reflect that you were voting on the open session.
Okay, so then we have minutes for the executive session, January 28th.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I guess I have to abstain since I
Yes.
wasn't here, and I would be abstaining on the first vote as well.
And the special meeting of February 3rd, 2014, the reorganization meeting.
Motion?
Motion to approve, second.
You can do that.
Second.
Any discussion? Yes,
Mr. Chairman, if I may, on the February 3rd minutes, I had on, I believe it's page 5, the first one, Resolution 2014-11, rescinding the resolution. I just thought it was pertinent to have, I believe council stated that it was illegal. Ms. Vesica was not a member at that time in any discussion that may have taken place. And I know that that was part of the discussion. I thought it should be reflected, to make that request, and that's entirely true.
it says they were held prior to her becoming a member.
That's correct.
Is that what you're asking?
But, yeah, but it also stated the council also stated that, in support of that.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to reflect under the Sunshine Law, if you have a person appointed to a board, but they weren't sworn in yet, under the Sunshine Law, they're not allowed to attend a meeting which would violate a quorum of more than X amount of members, depending on the number of members on the board.
I don't believe they're a member until they're duly appointed and qualified. Right?
Well, that was the
discussion that night.
Determination I came to at the last meeting.
Okay, we have a motion second and a minor change.
I have one clarification, just to make sure that on page 2, Debbie, where it says, it's the second election nomination where I was nominated for vice chair, then the vote, but it said that I was chairman for 2014. I think it needs to say vice chairman.
We'll get that corrected with the secretary.
Okay, we have a motion second, discussion. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Solid Waste Division. Division Manager's report.
Good evening. Everyone has my report in front of them to review, and I do want to explain that the charts are not up to date. We have a lock on the charts, and we're working on getting that unlocked so that I can fix that. No problem there. Tonnage is down a little bit. That's due to weather, I'm sure. We've had some problems this last month. Other than that, we are dealing pretty much with the weather and the conditions on the small cell. Does anyone have any questions about my report?
That's whether in addition to the cell age is small and you think there's people.
Operationally, it's
bypassing
very
this.
challenging. Yeah.
I do have a question. Can you tell me approximately how many customers we have in the books?
Active,
Active.
about 135 active.
4 on equipment repairs, is that stainless steel valve on the site?
Yes, it is. Mhm.
Cobweb
And I say
around
it like that because we are waiting anxiously for the new tank to come in so that we can take the old tank out of commission and drain it completely so that we can repair that valve, because you can't do it when there's any leachate in the tank. So we're waiting for the new tank.
And you have a few a few of the customers that have turned over to the solicitor for,
Yeah, those are the same ones that have been on there for months and months.
on the new leachate tank. You have, they have a subcontractor, Alco, that's
Well,
not
it's
the Atlantic
actually,
line.
it's actually Mid-Atlantic, it's not Alco.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, Alco is the one.
Alco is Atlantic Lining. That's one and the same. Mid-Atlantic is a totally different
Is
company.
it
That was my error.
Mid-Atlantic or Atlantic?
Mid-Atlantic.
Okay, so there's a Mid-Atlantic.
We actually have a subcontractor on site today called Massey, that I've not heard of, and the SSI. Yeah. Mhm.
I guess when you had this February 13th event, some bags slid down. How are they anchored?
They're anchored with some rebar at the top in a trench, and then the bags are tied on with rope. The sand bags are
Rebar vertically into the,
on the other side of the trench. There's a big trench system where the liner goes in. We're gonna look at retrenching that up and laying that liner back in with a long pipe instead of the rebar, and then burying it.
So the same outfit that designed it, put it in, is the same outfit that repaired it?
Yes, and the discussion with the
Just one
rebar
thing.
was also in tune with T&M. That discussion was with the engineers.
So they got $20-some thousand to repair their own.
Actually, it was $7,800
Well, it's going
because
to be.
we only
Yeah,
had,
got
well,
it done.
I'm gonna be getting a second quote from 2 other companies. Yeah,
They had
for
two
that.
supervisors and 8 people out there on Saturday. I know that was expensive.
Yeah, they couldn't come on Friday. They couldn't mobilize to come out on Friday.
It was Saturday time and a half, and Friday was not.
That's correct.
Funny how that works out.
are we able to inspect those roofs?
Not when it's a snow rain situation,
anytime,
but
anytime.
any other time we could. But it's not the condition of the ropes or the bags that caused this. It's the rain and the snow on the weight that pulled the cross. You know, there's lines that come down, but there's also cross lines. And that gathers up that snow, and that weight pulls them down. And that's what happened.
I get that, but you're an engineer. You're supposed to take those things into consideration.
They're engineers, that's
Yeah,
correct.
so they should.
Now, do you take concrete and brick,
Yes, we do.
and what do you do with it? How
We
do you-
use it
how
for
do you
road
make-
base.
And how much is it?
If they call me in advance and they discuss the project and it's all clean and non-contaminated, we'll take the brick at no charge. If the concrete has no rebar and it's clean and non-contaminated, we'll take that at no charge too, because we use that for roads.
Good. Anything else? Without objection, I'll have this report filed.
Thank
received
you.
and filed. Thank you. Next report is P&M.
Yes, good evening. Everyone, I believe in your packet has the February 21st report. Just want to hit on the highlights of the projects, the 3 projects that are ongoing right now.
There were 2, right after the charts.
Oh.
Right after that. Okay.
First one, Cell 9 construction. We had a pre-construction meeting last week, February 19th, with Ari Pearson. And we discussed coordination and with the project and the weather conditions and whatnot. We settled on a notice to proceed date of March 24th. Notice to proceed letter was sent out today. Contracts were received, and a copy of the fully executed contract was sent to Pearson today. Wetlands mitigation, GZA is still collecting data for the water balance. By contract, they are scheduled to complete that by mid-March. And after that, we'll do the number crunching on that data and provide a water budget for the mitigation site.
Is that for a report to the DEP? Or are you just going to crunch
Yes.
the numbers?
Yes. And the last is the leachate storage tank, was mentioned earlier by Melinda. Contract, Mid-Atlantic Tank is the contractor, subcontractor to TKT Construction is the prime on that. The tank is being erected on site. All of the leachate detection manholes are in site. They're large HDP manholes ranging anywhere from 6 to 8 foot in diameter. All of that material is on site, plus the double containment leachate piping. They're just waiting for the snow to go away and the weather to improve to start the excavation activities to begin that work.
At the pre-construction meeting, there was a comment about 6,000 cubic yards of clay. Has that been tracked down?
We are looking, we're working on a soils balance. We're coming up with 4,000 cubic yards. Short, but short being that it should be in the stockpile. And also there was clay that there was an access road from the rear of the site being constructed that we no longer believe that road is necessary for another access to cell 8. I worked with Rudy this past week, and we basically, we're working on the access road to cell 8 to alleviate that problem.
Okay. Any other comments about the engineer's report? There being none, I'll have the report received and filed. That covers the construction meetings also. We have somewhere a resolution. Transferring funds. You want to talk about that?
Sure. We're requesting a transfer of funds from the special projects line item 407 to the salaries and wage line item. The final payroll for the year, which ended December 31st, was actually paid December 31st instead of January 2nd because the first was a holiday. So it gave us an extra payroll beyond what we budgeted for the year, so we're requesting a transfer for that payroll period.
Can I make that motion?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And what was that resolution number?
Number 12.
12? We have the bills to pay. I mentioned one about the nursing home, one of the electronic ones, but you can't, there's no funding in the nursing home budget, so you take that out.
Yeah, after-
It kind of gets reimbursed from the county.
Yeah, after conferring with the auditor on the best way to handle that last year, since there's no longer any revenue coming in for the nursing home, it was decided that since the revenue will always come into solid waste, that it's paid out of the solid waste division and then billed over to the county, and then we do a bulk transfer back into the nursing home division.
Okay, we have a motion for resolution 13 to pay the bills for solid waste division.
I'll make that motion.
A motion, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Let's see. Economic development. Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay, you have my written report in front of you. Just a couple updates on some things. The
Three.
testing is ongoing with the water tower for the OEM system. It's not been finalized yet. The other thing is I have a meeting tomorrow with the New Jersey Business Action Center, and they're coming down here to the Salem Port, one part of the Salem Port, so we'll be looking at just some additional shipping that's being coming in, so there may be some additional equipment coming in. So we're working with that, with the Salem, the Cooper Interconnect Building and the Mid-Atlantic Shipping, so we'll find out. And when I have that meeting, I'll have additional information on what's going on there. The only other thing is the strategic plan, which we have a presentation tonight. Our economic development consultant, Phil Rowan, will be giving that presentation the next. He'll be next doing that for this is the draft, final draft, and for your review. That's my report.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Smith? Hearing none.
Mr. Chairman, if I could Mr. Smith is exactly right. They actually started, just to give everybody an update on the radio tower project, they actually started cutting over the new radio frequencies. They started Friday with Salem Hospital being the first one. So the emergency responders are now utilizing the new channels, and you're going to start to see them systematically
Still facing it.
dovetailed in now.
Yeah.
Thank you. Is there any objections? Without objection, I'll have the report received and filed, economic development report. And we have a consultant's report.
All right, is this all bright enough for everyone to see? Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For new folks here, I'm Phil Rowland, president of the firm Economic Development Associates. Been a consultant here for about 9.5 years. So we prepared a strategic economic development plan in 2010, which took us up to 2013. So this is the new plan that takes us from 2014 to 2017. And the strategic plans are widely used by most economic development agencies. Most counties have a strategic economic development plan. It's pretty much a prerequisite if you want to try to get federal and state funding for economic development purposes. I think the plan that we had a few years ago was a good plan. A lot of ambitious projects on there. Some of them we got moving, and some are going to take a long time. But so this is more of a refinement of the plan, an update. Things have changed, particularly some of the things I won't go into. Energy, SREX used to be a very valuable commodity. They've gone down to next to nothing. Marcellus Shale has been proven to be productive and probably has an impact on one of our largest proposed projects at the island. And so we're fine-tuning the strategy in light of recent events that have occurred. So I'll try to take you through it. I mean, this could take a while. I'll try to do it in about 15 minutes, but I know I've got a lot of things to do. But really, you know, what is the purpose of economic development? It's really to give us a game plan. I mean, some economic development entities just answer the phone and respond to what's going on. And that works to some degree, but I think it's better to have a plan that you go into the game, like Coach Bill Walsh of the 49ers always had a game plan. You want to know where you want to put your resources and how you want to do it. Things will come up every day. You'll get a phone call and somebody will be calling about something, and certainly you have to respond to that. But you want to have a plan of where you're going to put your resources and what you want to focus on. So obviously you want to have priorities for expending your money and your time. As I said earlier, you need one of these plans. If the USEDA comes up with a grant, Title I, Title IX, or the programs they have, or the state has a new program, they want to see your economic development strategy or plan. So it's a good thing to have. And I think it's good for local citizens to understand what kind of businesses and industries we're going after, why, and why the county and authority does what they do. Just an outline of the plan quickly. It was an executive summary. You know, because a lot of people don't want to read the whole plan. They want to try to have a summary that, you know, in a couple pages that everybody can figure out what we're doing. We introduced the report, you know, why we did it and how citizens were involved in the business community and the 3 input sessions we had at various parts of the county, how they operated. And a lot of the information that that will supplement the plan will be found on the website. So rather than have this big thick book all the time, we can keep updating it and we'll have things available and linked to our website to provide that information. You know, the perfunctory things you have to do, your county demographics and statistics, and an inventory of our infrastructure, lands and building, which is a moving target all the time. New ones come on, other ones get sold or redeveloped. They'll be linked to the website. Redevelopment opportunities will be linked to the website. The so-called SWOT analysis with strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. That's a key part of strategic planning, and I'll go through those in a little bit of detail. Coming up with priority projects, ones that have been finished, ones that no longer viable have been eliminated, some new ones that we've looked at. And a lot of this is based upon the input that we got from the business community and citizens about where we should be focusing. An implementation plan, how do you do what you say you're going to do? And then there's a plan process for updating it, and then there'll be an appendix, and we can put all of the detailed information available on the website. So SWOT analysis, again, the strengths of the county. We have a lot of land, abundant land, as opposed to some other counties in the country which has very little land available. We have affordable land values. Our land prices are attractive. They may seem expensive, but relative to competitive areas around us and other areas of the country, they're rather affordable. And we have an excellent interstate highway system, 295 and connecting into the I-95 in Delaware. So we really have good highway communication routes. Waterfront development opportunities. Being on the Delaware River, Delaware Bay, we have some great opportunities for marine traffic development. We have foreign trade zones. They're not easy to get. They're not really granting a lot more of them, so we have one at the Salem Port that could be taken advantage of. We have urban redevelopment opportunities, which will continue to expand. We got an available labor force that might be the yin to the yang, that we have people available. We will talk about on the negative how we need to get some more training and skill development there. We have proactive governmental units. Our local towns, want to see economic development happen, and they're willing to get involved and help us out. Active business organizations and chambers, local business development groups, community leaders. We have a lot of historic arts and cultural sites, a lot of outdoor recreational opportunities. I think something we could really take advantage of. Solid education systems, close to major urban areas, so you can be in major urban areas of Philadelphia, New York, and Washington, Baltimore relatively quickly. And we do have a good track record of providing payments in lieu of taxes and incentives that we can provide that other areas of the country don't offer those kind of programs. Weaknesses. You have to sometimes talk about the weaknesses. This might be the most important part of the SWOT analysis. We have a lack of a sizable, advanced, skilled, and highly skilled workforce. I choose my words very carefully here, but I think we recognize that we probably could focus on trying to get more skilled professionals, degreed individuals, which will help us be more attractive to the area. And I think having high-end housing is related to that. People with higher salaries, higher degrees tend to look for higher-end housing. So some of the things that we may be looking in terms of housing development is looking for that higher-end professional, executive, corporate business owner type of housing. We have limited workforce housing in some key areas where we need to provide more housing. Our electrical distribution system, natural gas services are rather aged. Some of our electrical lines are just those 3 wires going down a pole down a country road. That rural electrification has come to the country. We need to upgrade those. Atlantic City Electric, in our opinion, needs to make a major investment in Salem and Cumberland counties. We have some gaps in fiber optic, high-speed cellular communication networks, so we need to work on that. Our freight line system is still kind of curvy if you look down it, so there's many areas of it that need to be upgraded, especially the counties of short line railroad. We have a very limited public transit system here. Used to be an expression, I'm from South Jersey, what's a bus? So we're very limited there. We need a deep water port facility. There's one being developed in Gloucester County, but we really have nothing active at this time.
Can we even do one?
We can. I mean, we can if with the right investment. Well, you have to work with them. We do have some peers and things like that. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about that before, but there are 2 locations that could be developed for deep water port facilities. And again, it's a tactful way of saying that our taxes relative to the services that we provide are rather high as opposed to some other areas. Some opportunities. The new Economic Opportunity Act provides a lot of incentives. You may not know, but there are certain areas of the county that are qualified and can take advantage of this program. It's not just a North Jersey program. Our Gateway Business Park has been successful. We think there's a great opportunity to expand that and continue that track record. Pure Land is really coming to a build-out situation. So all of that interest that you've had in Pure Land and the beginning of Gateway, I think is going to spill over in Salem County if we can take advantage of that and it doesn't go the other way. So I think looking at and expanding that park is going to be important to the county. And development and repurpose rehabilitation designated sites along our I-295 growth corridor, which according to our plan and the county's planning is the area we want to channel growth into that I-295 corridor. Redevelopment, reconstruction, refurbish of existing buildings and former industrial sites is certainly a great opportunity. We have a number of buildings and sites available for redevelopment at Nike Base and areas of the cities and things like that that could be redeveloped. Expanding marine terminals, including the facility here in the city of Salem. Expansion, upgrade General Aviation Airport. We do have a General Aviation Airport near the Gateway Business Park, and how that could be integrated into that whole development there is something we should pursue. And again, improving our basic infrastructure, water, sewer, communication, natural gas, and electrical service throughout the county, which will lay the real framework for more growth and development. The threats, everybody's in this game. You know, 2,400 counties in America, they're all trying to get the business. They're trying to take our business from Salem County. They're trying to bring in their own, so there's a lot of competition out there. And one thing really developed by the input sessions from citizens and business people, and we came up with a tactful way of saying this, maybe it wasn't so tactful. Development regulatory agencies' onerous and bureaucratic processing of development application, how long it takes to get an application approved. Compare our time frame versus South Carolina. Compare our time frame to China. They can build a nuclear power plant can be approved in 5 months in China. They can have it finished in 3 years. So they're actually building 10 nuclear power plants now. I don't know what we're building in our country, if any. So we have to look at ways of addressing how long it takes. And a lot of it was brought up of, you know, folks in their local town just trying to get a sign up and get it through the planning board process. So something we really need to work together with all of our towns and the state government and the federal government about how to speed up the processing of approvals. And then our tax situation versus other locations that have very low taxes versus what we have in our local towns and the county. We really have a very limited amount of funds devoted to economic development. In general, the county devotes about 2% of their budget towards economic development, where we only spend a fraction of 1% for economic development. So something we should take a look at. Usually the return is very favorable in terms of those economic development dollars. Our high electric costs versus other areas, not just at TVA, but even New York State, where they have PASNY power that comes down from their water supply power, makes it very difficult to compete. And then the time frame that it takes to get some of the infrastructure done. All of these projects in New Jersey and certainly in this area have taken a long time to get approved. And another threat to us that we have to keep in mind is that we're not insulated from some of these weather events we read about. But I think when I was working on the last plan, we experienced an earthquake. I think people were in this room when I was talking to them when I started shaking. So earthquakes can occur here, and certainly flooding. We've seen the Rainbow Lake and other areas throughout the county can be it's a threat to our economic development and things we need to invest in to make sure that doesn't happen. So, based upon that strategic analysis of strengths and weaknesses, opportunities and threats, what are we recommending? What kind of businesses should we go after? If you had $50,000 to market to industry, which ones would you go after? Would you go after shoe manufacturers? Would you go after furniture? No, they're not things that match up with our workforce. They're not things that are going to be sustained. They won't last. But we think that these companies, or these types of companies, these segments of the economy, are what we have a competitive advantage here in Salem County. Logistics center, and that's all, in terms of warehousing and transportation and terminals and all of that activity. Having abundant land, having good highways, maybe having water transportation, we could become a center for logistics, and we're seeing some of that in Gateway and other areas of the county. And food and beverage processing, manufacturing, warehouse distribution, we've seen some of that already, but we certainly think that's a market segment that we can pursue. Again, having large tracts of land, which they need. Some of the issues we have to overcome is the availability of water. Food manufacturers, food processors need a lot of water, and a lot of that water is recycled, so you don't need as much wastewater treatment, but certainly that's something that we could take advantage of and bring them here. Energy generation, in terms of alternative energy, it's amazing how much power is produced in Salem County, and we think we can continue to do that. The solar and some of the other aspects are not as advantageous as they were, but things could change and they could come back. Into the discussion with the public, certainly retention and expansion of existing business. It's more cost-effective and efficient to work on keeping what you have than going after and pursuing new business. So we want to make sure that while we're out bringing in the other businesses, we don't turn our back on the existing companies here that may have an issue, may have to close, or may need some financing. So we want to focus on retention and expansion of existing businesses. Coming up with some innovative things like an incubator, where you take a larger industrial complex and you break it up into small pieces and rent it out to entrepreneurs and new startups. They have a hard time getting that capital they need for space and some startup money. So, you know, that may make some sense at the former Nike base in Pedricktown. And tourism development, certainly Salem County is an attractive area. A lot of the input we got from the people at our input sessions revolved around tourism and some new ideas about tourism, from agriculture tourism. I even heard an idea about staying over at a farm and getting up and milking a cow and feeding the chickens in the morning. That would be an attractive thing to do.
Did we have anything to do with this?
Did we?
Yeah.
No. But I mean, everything along those lines.
It's covered in Salem County.
Yeah, bringing people in terms of taking advantage of the natural wonders that we have here. And some, again, strategic principles that we have here would be energy efficiency and diversification. We are the powerhouse of these in terms of the amount of power that's generated by our county. Grow what we have, and that's another strategic principle that makes sense here, to take the industries that we have, whether it's glass manufacturing, whatever else, and get them to expand. Another principle is sustainability of existing business industry, make them more cost effective, hopefully with lower energy rates and better infrastructure, and so that we can keep those businesses here. A lot of interest in keeping the farmland and not paving it over and developing it. So really striking the balance between farmland preservation with targeted growth. So in other words, we really want to channel the growth in the right areas. And that's primarily along the I-295 corridor. And then regional cooperation, working with the counties around us, working with Delaware. I mean, if we want to come up with a plan for a port, we can't just keep fighting each other over the old plan of, what was it, 25 miles from Newcastle, whatever it is, we have to sort of figure out.
High water mark to high water.
So how, they can't just starve us out forever. I think we have to sort of work with Delaware and see what we can do together. We want to create a wide array of employment opportunities. I know I got on a project about 10 years ago where we were focusing on telemarketing. We had a lot of telemarketing jobs, but as that industry went down, it was a real threat. So you want to have a wide array in professional jobs, in manufacturing, warehousing, education, a lot of different types of jobs. So you don't want to focus on any one area. We want to stabilize the property taxes. We certainly want to expand employment and job finding, education, job training. And another principle, we want to make sure that this plan and process is transparent so that everybody knows what's going on, why we're doing it. So making this available on the web and in printed material so that anybody interested in knowing our strategic plan will be able to come see it. Priority projects. This project's been going on for a long time, but really complete the county short rail line from Swedesboro down to Salem. And there are different phases, and are funds coming in from Tiger grants to other sources of funds. Construct the new regional sewer system in the western region of the county, which ties into the old DuPont complex there. Develop the deep water port we talked about. Support construction of new nuclear unit. I know that's sort of in a slower process right now, but we should maintain our support because things could gradually develop, and if certain other energy resources become less attractive than the nuclear option, and certainly we have the capacity here. I think we have the first phase of site approval, at least approved. Sponsor alternative energy project. We think that's something that still makes sense. Solar, wind, other type of activities here that we certainly have the land for it. And then pursue recycling and energy generation at our resource recovery complex, formerly called the landfill. Support the redevelopment of the former Nike base in Olbin's Township. I believe there's some motion moving ahead on that, a meeting with township officials to move forward on that. Assist RDOG Group, formerly Anchor, in their glass manufacturing plant modernization. Support the Penns Grove redevelopment, not just the downtown or the waterfront area, but assist them on that. And assist in the build out of the business center at Carney's Point. Work with Calpine on development and reuse of the Deepwater Generating Station. This could be another potential port location. Continue to support redevelopment of the City of Salem. Work with DuPont on the reuse of the Chambers Work Industrial Complex, which was one of the world's largest industrial complexes at one time. Certainly could support a re-industrialization of existing property that they have within their fence. Has a lot of advantages of security and infrastructure and things like that. Expand the Gateway Business Park, which we talked about a little earlier, and expand and promotion of tourism in the county. So they're the priority project, and that's a lot. That's for a small county like Salem. That's a lot of projects to work on, but I think it's a good, healthy program. And so how do we really pull this off? The plan is to focus on helping existing businesses remain competitive, assist the City of Salem in their brownfield redevelopment, pursue educational partnerships with colleges and universities and other proprietary schools, and we think increasing the educational base and the skill level of all of our residents is something we really should be working on. Support tourism growth and development, expand the existing business loan program that we have, support our chambers of commerce, provide technical assistance to local business associations, market our bond finance programs to towns and school districts, continue to market the CIA, maintain it as an initial point of contact, increase support, administrative marketing support for the loan program. So, in a nutshell, that's what we found, what we thought were the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. We listed numerous projects that we think are worthwhile and probably could create over 1,000 new jobs. And we have a game plan for how to implement. So I'm open to answer any questions or any comments you have.
Any questions?
Go ahead.
Phil, I had the pleasure of attending your function over at the Dodgers Market in Elmer, and I was pleasantly surprised to see we had business people from Alloway and Salem come to this particular one, and I was really surprised how good they were doing when the tourism implemented by the county many years ago was making them money and bringing more business into the town. And then it was just, sad to hear them say how they're hurting now because the freeholders gutted the tourism and arts program. It was, when you hear a lot of talk about it at political meetings, but when you actually hear business people coming, not in a political venue, and say, we were making lots of money when that tourism was implemented for Salem County, and now it's dead. And the people that came in to join in was taking advantage of this, or now left holding the bag. It was a shame.
Well, we certainly heard a lot about tourism.
Yeah, that was really, and the arts. That's the main thing that you said when we were at the other one. But you did a wonderful job, and I'd like to thank you. This is great stuff. Just I hope the people that have the powers to implement the stuff wake up, read it, and maybe act on some of it.
Any other comment?
Were any of the superintendents or community college, or community college leaders, did they attend the strategic planning?
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Do you know who was there?
Joe Bailey was
Joe
at the
Bailey
other
was
one.
there. We had David Yen from In Spirit. We had
Hospitals, colleges.
hospitals.
Did any of the local K-12s?
You mean like teachers or?
No, like
principals?
superintendents. We have a few of those.
No, they were invited. I'm trying to think, did Lauren Thomas at that time? No.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah,
Which ones were
But-
superintendent.
I know
Okay,
some
I
of
just-
them participated by survey
Yeah.
too.
We talk about education, I've spoke,
Yeah.
that's one language I speak, so, and I couldn't agree with you more that, the more skilled our workforce, the easier it will be to pursue economic development for sure.
I mean, that's obviously we identified that as companies look, depends what skill level they want. They look at, say, Mercer County versus Salem County, they sort of see what the lay of the land is, but that doesn't mean we can't upgrade our skills. everybody got a.
There is intelligent life south of the Raritan. There really
Oh, yeah.
is. You know, I tell people up north that all the
We
time.
agree with that.
And the employers have become partners in that effort too, by helping guide, this is what we need.
Right, and that's why, you know, I think it's always important to involve them. You know, unfortunately, you know, and I certainly wasn't laughing at your plan. I was laughing at the fact that, like, about 15 years ago, I sat on the same thing, and these are the same strategic recommendations that we have had for years and years. This isn't, you know, we haven't reinvented the wheel. And I have to agree with Mr. Voros that sometimes, you know, the individuals that do have the control or tend to be somewhat short-sighted, and there's not enough, I think, melding of resources and certainly melding of talents. And, you know, we have too many separate entities, and in Salem County we're really small, and we need to work together with that. If you had to choose one of your, you know, your strategies or your strategic recommendations, which one do you think would be the most important? Like one that Salem County needs to, this is something that we can manage. I mean, you can talk about a deep port in Salem, good luck. You know,
No, I think
good luck.
I think the
And
Gateway
Delaware.
Business Center, you know, if I had, you know, one thing to focus on here, I'd say expanding that, because we've proven that it works.
That's mainly warehousing.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
it's a
No,
little
it's
bit of
manufacturing.
manufacturing, you
Well,
know,
I
because
mean,
it's not
you know, Berkowitz is glass manufacturer, but I think warehousing, distribution, food processing, light manufacturing, I don't think we're getting heavy manufacturing going in there.
See it in that.
But I think a lot of things, I think you can see a lot of jobs in the food industry there. And I think that with the right set of circumstances, you may see the pharmaceutical and biomedical. And when you move in pharma and biomedical, you're going to see a lot of higher paying jobs move into that. So today they're looking for a lot more space. They're also warehousing a lot of space. So I think there's a natural progression from just pure warehousing to food manufacturing to pharmaceutical and to other high tech. There's some major manufacturing projects floating around the area that I think we can certainly pursue, whether they're iPhones or whatever it's going to be. I think there's some manufacturing that's offshore that might come back to the United States, but I think we have to be ready for it. And you got to be aggressive because everybody else is. So I think that's the key message I can take from this, that we can't rest because everybody else is really going after more jobs and things. So my answer would be Gateway. I think that's, you know, the other ones have a lot more complex issues they have to do.
I have a question. I see this as, you know, 14 through 17, and we talked about getting grants from whoever. We need to be prepared if there's grants available. We need to be able to do they need a strategic plan. We have a strategic plan in place. Did those strategic plans expire? Is there an expiration to them?
Yeah, that's why in 2017 they sort of have a shelf life to them.
But I mean, no one's going to
change.
They're going to deny your grant because you don't have enough to.
Well, they want to. Yeah, they actually want to see a current plan. That's why I put 2017 on there. I mean, I may not be here next month, but I want to have a plan that you guys can take for the next 3 years. So 3 years is the normal. They go from anywhere from 1 to 5. But 3 is the mode. That's the normal term.
But they actually turn it down because you don't have a.
Well, they'll say, as part of your application process, submit a copy of your strategic plan. And all of a sudden the county say, well, we don't have one. Or we got to hire a consultant real quick. We got to get, but they require the input sessions and all of that, all the things that we did. We followed the US EDA model of the things that you have to do. So we have one. I
But
hope
we
it
had
doesn't
one.
just sit on the
But
shelf.
we had one, too.
But
We had one.
right. And
So
we
they
went
just-
after a Tiger grant, and there's a Tiger grant, I think,
For the railroad?
$21 million or something that comes from Del Air all the way down to Salem County. But
So we just spent $10,000, and I believe that was the number, about $10,000 for that report.
Right, so it was very affordable.
And Luke, by way of a response to that question too, one of the entities we've been working with is the Pesco Sykes Foundation, who, as we all know, is able to fund some economic development activities across multiple counties. One of the very first things that they identified and wanted delivered to them was a copy of all the county strategic plans. There's 4 counties involved. Atlantic County does not have one. Atlantic County, Atlantic City has one. Atlantic County does not. They are light years behind where they need to be in terms of getting their ducks lined up for a project like Pesco Sykes. So they're now going through the process.
Who hires consultants in Atlantic County?
Yeah,
Did I answer your question?
I just
I
That's
guess.
a good
have to
answer.
ask the question.
Okay. Anyone else? I don't want to prolong, I know you got a lot
Good
more.
report.
on the
Any other
agenda.
comment?
So this is a draft. I mean, if you have comments, you want to send me emails or go through Debbie, whatever. Normally the last process is once the approving authority accepts it, then you bring it to the freeholders and pass it on.
I guess any question is, Swedesboro had a Nike base, and I know that where you're talking about,
Mhm.
but I didn't realize that was considered
Well,
a Nike base.
actually, Pedricktown is the control center
Yeah,
for
Pedricktown.
13 Nike bases that ring Philadelphia. Each city on the East Coast, Boston, New York, Philadelphia, and Washington, had a Nike control center with 12 to 13 Nike bases around. This was the Army's idea, how we're going to protect the cities from the Russian bear. And but Pedricktown, if you go down in that building, that's where the Dr. Strangelove building is, with all the screens are up on, and that's how they controlled. So they're actually ring Philadelphia, if you look
So the
at
missiles weren't there.
And
Missiles were at Swedesboro.
I've worked on 4 of them. They have one in Marlton near Cherry Hill High School. There's one in Woolwich Township too. So they're all around through Pennsylvania. You just go right around like the numbers on a clock. And that was the Army's idea how they were going to protect the cities. Didn't work. We never had the attack, which was good, so maybe it didn't work. But
Have this received and filed.
a great piece of property there in Pedricktown.
Well, pending any comments that you'd like to have.
One other question, if I may, Mr. Chair. Phil, was there any talk at all about the DOD maybe being sold, some of the folks pulling out of there and making it available again?
Well, all through the process, there was a lot of changing ideas of what was happening or not happening. So we just said support the redevelopment of it and who owns it, and we'll work with anybody who has a proper title to it. I guess that's really good for that.
From the time of the first plan to this plan, obviously, I think you all know that there had been a very interested and active party out there that lapsed. So we tried to make this a little more generic and not call out specific names of entities that might be involved in the property, because that property has moved several times over and is in the process of moving again.
Anyone else?
With no other comments, I'll have the report received.
Clear all my
and filed.
gear out of here. All right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, for economic development, we have the bills resolution. Overexpended in that division.
Yeah, the fan will shut down in a minute.
So I'll take a motion for that resolution. Pay the bills for economic development.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Nursing home. Resolution 2014-15. A resolution to pay the bills for the nursing home. It's just $1,087.50.
Make motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Not sure if I'm not in the same order as everybody else. I have personnel committee first.
There's no agenda for the executive committee.
Yeah, they just, my executive committee, you want to talk about anything in the executive committee, or you want to?
Just, we would just mention the fact that we did the kickoff for the audit, okay? They are due to be on site till March 10th here. They're doing some background, preliminary record gathering. And we do have an IRS reconciliation that's underway for 2010 that involves some W-2s, W-3s, and 941s that, when they got to the IRS, did not match. We did this week pull all of our records, the numbers match, so we've sent them back up to the IRS, and we're waiting for their evaluation back.
So they match here, not there.
They match here, not there. So unless they're looking at different records, we're not sure what to make of that yet. I think that's everything.
Okay, personnel committee? Anything?
Well, most here is self-explanatory, but Debbie, you want to go Deb, on number 3 of benefit programs?
Sure. We do and are actively working with that non dental plan. January billing is still outstanding. It appears the bills were sent over to the county. for the Improvement Authority. They were kind enough to send a February bill over to us, but have not issued us a bill for January, so we're attempting to work with that vendor to get that taken care of, because that's very time sensitive.
So we're off the county plan on that? Is that it?
We're a spin-off group, but a separate billing entity, and always have been. And we also have a deferred comp plan that we're looking just to change or evaluate our vendor. And we've had some employees who've expressed some dissatisfaction with our current vendor in terms of the responsiveness of that vendor when they're called upon to have meetings with them, as well as the plan administration. So we want to look at some other vendors. There's only a few that are out there.
No, I'm sorry, that was for the dental?
No, for BALAC, which is our deferred comp.
Oh, okay.
It's something we administer at the request
Yes.
of employees.
And we also talked about our sick time policy, Debbie.
Yeah, we will be looking at the sick time carryover policy as the auditors prepped for this year's audit. So obviously they look at the accumulated attendance balances, and they've identified the fact that we've been looking at the accumulated sick time without the benefit of the cap that the board adopted in 2011. That does and will significantly eliminate from existing employees' balances that they've accumulated. So we'll be bringing back to the Personnel Committee a healthy discussion about how that impacts about 5 employees here. It's something I do not believe in 11. I wasn't here at the time the policy was adopted, but I don't believe that discussion actually occurred with the board as to what the potential impact was for those employees.
So Johnny has accumulated sick time. He thinks he has 20 days, and somewhere back in 2011, we capped it at 10. And now he's going to get the bad news he doesn't have 20.
Good example, yeah. Except that's probably. Yeah.
Have the employees been?
They have been told, yes, and they've been given their balances, and of course, it's still subject to audit, but it's not going to well, as you might expect. And I believe the board, again, I wasn't here to benefit in the discussion. I believe the board's intention probably at that time was perhaps to cap it at retirement or termination or leave, but not cap it during the course of a year, because you really don't want employees just using their sick time just to get them off the books. You want them to keep it in case they have, a major illness. And I believe that's what had been done for a period of
I
time.
think that was our intent at that time, too, when they retired, that you didn't take a year's pay with you, it wasn't meant for hours going through the year.
Yeah. But the way it's written, the auditor's opinion is that it gets capped at the end of every year.
Aren't they capped by state law or something?
At the
No?
payout at retirement, yes, but not from year to year.
What is that? I'm sorry.
15,000.
And you're looking to change, or you're working on modifying the policy manual? Is that?
Yes, we've now got
Is that in where
the
I can get a copy of that?
solicitor's comments and the risk manager's comments. I meet with Casey tomorrow to see how far along she is in incorporating those comments. I'll be happy to get them out to you guys.
And then we'll look at it for comments.
Mhm.
I've been trying to get a copy for a while, but it's not available yet. Solid waste, Mr. Horace.
Yes, we have the late shake tank number 2 is in motion. Mother Nature's been getting in the way over there, but it's in progress. And cell number 9 was kicked off on February 6th meeting. And it seems like all the permits are in place, and there's deadlines set, and they're ready to roll. I think all the square edges have been rounded, and they're moving forward with it. And then I'd like to mention that our new man on the hill, Take Charge, Mother Nature's been putting the heat to him because he's been up in the middle of the night with all the disasters we've been having, and he's fared very well. He stood up and got his job done, so we're real proud of Lodi. And Melinda, she's doing a wonderful job out there too.
Well, thank you. Innovation and technology, no meeting?
Well, I will say that the domain names, the issue of multiple domain names has been resolved. 5 new desktops were installed out to the solid waste area, and they were all up to speed now. They're all have the same operating system there right now. So they're all most up to date. I think was it 2011?
Windows 8 dummy down to 7 and Office 2013.
Yeah. So they're all up to speed. So less issues. That's it.
Okay, any comment about any of them? Without objection, I'll have the reports received and filed. Executive Director, tab 6.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tab 6 is my executive director's report. Notation on the nursing home, all the payments are up to date for retired benefits from the county. We will be invoicing for the March 10th invoice. And expect that will come in fine. We do continue to work relative to the SKG matter. In terms of the daily operations, I'm not going to repeat anything you've already heard in the engineer and solid waste division manager's report. Suffice to say, though, that we are in the process of drafting an affirmative defense for the incident that occurred on February 13th into 14th. And the reason for that is explained in, I think, the resolution pretty transparently, is that snowslide did sever one of our methane gas wells, created an emergency situation which took our generator and our flare down. The flare did operate below normal operating permit temperatures, but as we know from our last visit with the DEP, that does put us in the potential violation standpoint, hence why we file an affirmative defense.
And we're also capping some non-productive wells.
We're trying to identify exactly which ones we either want to cap temporarily or actually have decommissioned. If they're not producing or likely to produce gas now or in the future, probably better just to get them decommissioned. That way, DCO Energy will not need to report or modify or test for them, and we can get them off of our landfill wells. This particular well obviously was on the rain tarp side, so this is one of the brand new wells that we installed 2 years ago, and it is producing a lot of gas. We will be having a meeting this Thursday with the leachate tank installer. The purpose of that meeting is to continue to monitor their progress. They have advised us that they are running about 30 days behind at this point in time because of the weather conditions. We have asked them, as per directed in the contract, to identify what days they lost and why they lost those days. We do not believe that it's actually 30 days lost. There has been some snow events. The contractor's been on site, but they've also had some issues relative to material availability for the backfilling. So we'll see how that meeting goes with them. We did have another NJDEP solid waste inspection on February 19th. There were no violations noted during that inspection, but they did ask that we take corrective action on the tire storage area as it was untarped at the time of the inspection. We're still in the process of filing a minor modification to that solid waste permit for the ag plastic area and also to designate our laydown areas as requested by the city. And we filed letters with the NJDEP relative to the October 11th and November 8, 2013 settlement offers, accepting their reduction of the penalty by 25%. We are awaiting the formal settlement document that will have to come before this board for execution. And we have also filed the SEP report, that special environmental project, to document our commitment to help abate any hazard to the environment. This will be our light bulb change-out program with the LED light bulbs that we will be handing out through our shredding events and household hazardous waste days. We do not have the permission yet to do that, so I've given them the dates and times of our events, and they're working to get that approved.
What do you do to purchase them? Is that a state contract for the LED?
Actually, the 60-watt bulbs that we were talking about and the 100-watt bulbs are not on the exact. This Energy Star program does not have those light bulbs on it. So, of course, where do we go? Google, Amazon. You know, you look at pricing from that perspective. Get some quotes.
That will be below the quote limit. It's just the
Well, yeah,
amount
we'll
of
have to.
the reduction.
You've all heard the strategic plan update. We continue to work with the Pasco Sykes Foundation on the economic development initiative for the Fort County area. Regional sewer project, no update there. Technology for that update. On the human resources side, we are getting a healthy pool of applicants for our equipment operator's position as well as our local laborer and our scale master.
Local responses?
Some
Burlington
local.
County.
Some Cumberland County, I will tell you Cumberland. I saw a couple Gloucester in there, but yeah.
What's the deadline?
Deadline is the end of next week, mid-month.
And where are you getting the responses from? Which
Actually, we're getting them from a number of different places. Some walk-ins, some calls. Career Builder has submitted a few to us electronically. They did see it in the paper. So, haven't found one just yet, but I haven't checked everybody about Career Builder or Craigslist. So, we haven't posted it. Our website is up to date. We do still need to update the contracts listing for 2013 and 14. That'll be done following this meeting, obviously. We've completed 2 OPA requests, and we have one that is currently pending. That is for bid results And you see a number of dates there for upcoming meetings. Any questions?
Is the solid waste division meeting, it's the first Thursday, is that gonna stay that, since the meeting has been changed?
We're planning on it unless, the board so chooses to change the date, but that doesn't affect us.
Yeah, I was just curious. I'm gonna miss the next two, that's all. Just hoping it changed. Anything else? Any comment about the report? Any questions?
Yeah, what's the status on the building at the nursing home? Has county said that what their part is yet or agreed to anything, or?
I don't think we should discuss that in open session.
I can tell you, there really has been nothing further that's happened since last time we talked.
Okay, without objection, hearing none, I'll report received and filed. Next, I have nothing on that. Is that unfinished business?
That's correct. It's just a placeholder, so you know it's
Okay.
sitting there.
Moving on to resolutions. First resolution is a refund. This is someone that was doing business with us and
This is actually a
Close
current
out.
customer, although they've been inactive for quite some time. And they're interested in, obviously, receiving their credit balance because they are inactive for so long, but they do not want their account closed. So their balance
now,
is...
you don't have money to hold an account open. They can have an account open without any
That's correct.
customer. I have a motion to approve, second, any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? A resolution authorizing application for the 2013 Recycling Enhancement Act. It's for $110,000, that's what you expect?
To the best of our knowledge, they used to send letters telling you exactly what it was going to be. They told us basically expect the same amount you got last year, which was $110,000. If it is any more, then obviously we would need to come back with a consortium resolution. But based on what we know at this point in time, it's $110,000.
Make that motion.
Have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Resolution for new member participation in a cooperative pricing system with the county sales. Want to talk about it?
Sure. At the,
County call.
yeah, the request of the county purchasing agent, they, every 5 years, I believe it is, go through and entertain the cooperative purchasing pool. And they've invited, again, all of the member municipalities and other public entities in the county to be part of that cooperative. We have been for a number of years. We benefit from this. A lot of our stone purchase, any concrete piping that we need, and things like that comes through this cooperative purchasing.
Okay, I'll take a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Resolution awarding a contract for household hazardous waste countywide collection program. That was just bid. And Clean Venture, looks like, has the parent, has the loan recommended.
Yes, I've thoroughly reviewed all of the proposals. They do have a complete proposal.
And we've used them before, or have not?
They're not the most current provider. We've used them 2 cycles ago. Seems to go between Clean Ventures Care, Clean Ventures Care.
And they come in and take care of all the recycling before events?
It's, yeah, it's
Or
not really
whatever.
recycling, but it's the collection of the household hazardous
Can
waste.
they-
All four.
Take care of recycling it or disposing it? Okay, I'll take a motion.
Make that motion.
Second?
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Resolution declaring an emergency and authorizing repairs at the improvement authority. Solid waste division.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? Any discussion?
Yeah, I have a question. Linda, you said you were gonna look for other prices to repair this? I misunderstand that?
I was told to get another quote from another vendor for the second half, which is basically all of the realigning of the sandbags and perhaps the install of new ropes, depending on the quality of the ropes and the condition of them.
So like, I wanna pay the bill that we owe, but I don't wanna necessarily
Yeah.
Well,
give the
But
same outfit.
you need something taken care of to hold the tarp down, right?
yeah, are we treating this as still an emergent issue? We are. Has the immediate emergency of capping the methane gas well been abated? Yes, we had no choice other than to call the vendor, get them in, and assist us with that. The tarp should not remain unstabilized, unsecured for an extended period of time. High wind areas could tear the tarp and render it, basically damaged and have to be repaired. So we're still treating this as an emergency situation. We still want to do that also for the affirmative defense. However, because we did have other vendors who did provide quotations when the tarp was installed, as long as we can secure quotes quickly, we are willing to ask them for additional quotes to realign the sandbags.
But it's still an emergency situation,
Yes.
but you have enough time to get some quotes. That helps.
All right, so we're not necessarily giving that outfit.
Well, the proposal, which was up to $28,000 and change, was from that outfit. The only thing you would do is if you had anything that was quicker or cheaper, is that you would award it to somebody else.
I would hope their mounting system has changed.
Well, we've actually conferred with several other landfills that have these rain tarps, some who actually still have the same kind of anchoring system that we have. We were the only one that experienced failure.
It wasn't
And-
exactly a 100-year storm.
I wouldn't have believed it had I not seen it with the pictures and everything, so.
Second or third most snowfall with the combination of heavy rain. Speaks for itself.
Yeah, there's a lot of weight on that one anchor point, that's all. We have a motion and a second, I believe. Any more discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Next one, I believe, is resolution authorizing the award of a contract pursuant to a fair and open process to provide auditing services for the improvement authority. So, Bowman,
Make that motion.
have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Question on the motion.
Sure.
Is this the same company that we had before?
Yes.
So we hired them, and then we fired them, and now we're hiring them again.
Well, the contracts were null and void by the judge, so we had to do something else. So yes, that's the,
Pretty much insane.
well, there's, it is that, had to get that far. There's discussion, any more discussion?
Yes, I probably would have voted from the beginning anyway, but I'm saying, I didn't get a chance to see any of these bids out of the 9 we had. Who looked them over and made the recommendations? Anybody get a chance to see any of them?
Executive committee, like the usual.
And who was that, you and?
It says, member Bestwick, and I'm ex officio, so I was there at the bid opening. We had the bid opening? No, you weren't at the bid opening. The bid opening is when we did it. Yeah, we had to move quickly, so that when the bids were open, we stayed here and reviewed them, made recommendations, and
But they got this new amazing thing called internet where you can email the contracts to all 5 members, so we can at least look at them. It's amazing.
we have discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none.
That's 5-0.
5-0. A resolution authorizing the award of the contract pursuant to fair and open for legal services for the improvement authority.
Make that motion.
There's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Discussion
Any
on the motion.
discussion?
I have a question. Just make sure I understand anything, I'm a little slow sometimes. An hourly rate of $150 for all legal work to be billed monthly, blah, blah, blah. There would be no separate or additional charge for secretarial work. I get separate and I get additional, so if you have a secretary and she does something, am I getting billed at 100? That's why I'm getting confused.
No. But
There
there's
is
no
no
billing
charge.
rate.
All right, so it's $150, if she's doing the work, you're doing the work, whoever's doing the work, it's $150.
It's $150 for attorney work. You're not charged for any secretarial work.
Okay.
I think that's the same as what has been.
Well, so I'm just trying to get it clear in my mind, so. All right, so you're doing some work and then you assign something to her, but it's billed at the 150 and she's paid out of your 150 basically?
That's correct.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to reiterate what I said before about anybody voting yes for these changing the professionals that we awarded or open themselves up to a personal lawsuit that this board will not pay if we get sued by any of these vendors.
Thank you. Understood. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
No.
1 no, 1 abstention. Resolution establishing a public agency compliance officer for the Salem County Improvement Authority.
And this, just,
This is
Mr.
always
Chairman, we're
a
reviewing this one
solicitor.
because we need the exact name of the PACA, not just the position.
And that's always, there has been in the past, the authority solicitor.
Yes.
Take a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
What's the location, where they, what town they come from?
What's that?
What's that?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll abstain.
1 abstention. Resolution authorizing the award of a contract pursuant to fair and open process to provide bond counsel services for the Improvement Authority. This is Archer Griner. Then you. And Haddonfield. Have a motion, is a second?
Second.
I have a question on the motion. Where are they located at?
Haddonfield.
Mr. Chairman, when we hired professionals last year, you cried like a little baby about how we're hiring everybody out of the county. What's the deal with this?
Oh, once in a while you get some out of the county.
Once in a while, it's 90%?
Yeah, last time it was. It's not this time.
Not this time? What percentage is it this time?
It's maybe 70 or 60.
No, it's closer to 80.
Out of county? Well, go out of county.
So is there anything different that happened when you here was crying about we're not hiring in county and now?
I voted for the ones out of the county. I said that we should have a resolution from Burlington County thanking us for our economic development for them. That's all. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
I abstain.
1 no, 1 abstention. Resolution authorizing the award of contract pursuant to fair and open for professional engineering services for the solid waste division. It's Lima, Mount Holly, it's Burlington County. Is there a motion?
I move it.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution authorizing the award of the contract pursuant to fair and open process to provide financial advisor services for the Salem, for the county of Salem. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
Again, I'd like to mention that I don't, it appears this company is not from Salem County,
That's correct.
and you couldn't find a company in Salem County that bid on this or had a comparable price?
That's correct.
Did you or any of the other board members have discussions with people that are
The
getting
bids were sent out. We didn't send bids to people.
No, I was asking a question. Did you or any of the board members have discussions with these professionals that we're picking now before they submitted their bids on
No.
pricing or, no? You're gonna answer it no before I finish?
Well, we had no discussion with them about pricing.
No
or
faxes or person to person or phone calls? No?
Nothing.
Okay.
I think you've used Phoenix Advisors in the past.
Many years ago, there's evidence in the files that we've seen.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
1 abstention. Resolution authorizing the award of the contract pursuant to fair and open process to provide risk management consulting services for the authority.
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Marty's point.
Got a local.
No discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Quick question about Carney's point. I'm
I
not,
would abstain on that one.
and one, One abstention. On Carney's Point, is it apostrophe? I see it always without an apostrophe. Is it Carney's Point or?
No apostrophe.
No apostrophe? So someone named Carney's lives there?
I don't know what it's, I think on their website, they actually give you the history of where they got the name from, but no apostrophe. It doesn't belong to like
I never.
Mr. Carney.
You don't really, no, it has to be Mr. Carney's. Or it would be his point. If it's
Yeah,
his
I
point,
don't
it
think
has to
it's,
be an apostrophe.
no, there's no apostrophe.
Okay. So somebody Carney's. Resolution authorizing the award of the contract pursuant to fair and open process to provide professional engineering services for the topographical survey.
Motion?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, there's discussion.
Yes.
Historically, me and you had many discussions at the Fraunhofer at Pittsburgh's planning board, and they always came in higher. Are you guaranteeing they're gonna do this topographical survey cheaper than the two bids that we had?
I'm not gonna guarantee it, but I would imagine so. There's a lot less travel. Cumberland County.
Well, the current one is in Gloucester County, which is not
Right.
much, not much traffic.
Where the hell is it?
Sickles.
Right.
So how can we be assured that we're hiring people that you're acquainted with, that you've done business, a lot of business for, and you always push for them even though they were more money in Pittsburgh?
No, I push, well, no. If you're gonna bring up Pittsgrove, you're shooting with blanks because the Pittsgrove saved a lot of money when they went to Fraunhofer from Sickles.
Not when we went on.
Well, not when you were there, but you left. That's how we got to Fraunhofer. Any other discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Not opposed?
Abstain.
Abstention?
I'll keep an eye on that survey and I'll be looking
Please
at
do.
your bank account when it comes in higher.
Resolution authorizing the award of the contract pursuant to a fair and open process for fee accountant for the County Improvement Authority.
Make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
Abstain.
The same one we had. Resolution authorizing the award of the contract pursuant to fair and open process to provide health benefits consulting services for the County Improvement Authority. Is there a motion?
I'll make that.
Second.
Motion second, any discussion?
Where are they located?
Cape May.
Nice and close.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Same.
Abstain.
That takes care of the resolutions. And correspondence, anything to point out?
Nothing in particular, just standard correspondence that we sent out and received, and most of the responses are back from the depositories on cash management and acknowledging that.
Okay, without objection, I'll have the correspondence received and filed.
I move that.
Second.
Hearing none, have it. Received and filed. So public commentary, any comment from the public? Yes.
Yeah, I'm Ed McKelvey, Alloway Township Mayor. I want to welcome all the new members. We're thankful for a SCIA board that's easy to work with. We're looking forward to moving forward in our new contracts here. And again, I just want to thank everybody for all that you do for us.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Yeah, Ann Sullivan, I'll stand up, I'm just getting old today here. Ann Sullivan, Alloway Township, and it just was a spelling thing, I'm sorry, Mr. Rowan. My mother was an English major, so she should be very proud. On one of your slides where it said strengths and weaknesses in your SWOT analysis, you spelled strength S-T-R-E-N-H-T. and I think it's spelled the other way. So,
Might have been my spell checker.
okay, well,
Failed
we're
me
paying
here.
secretarial and whatever on that one. Fire that person and
That's
check
the,
on.
that's the training level of South Jersey.
I think that was me, I'll take it.
Okay,
Right.
check, could you please check
I'll
on
run
the
that spell
spelling?
check again, see if I misspelled it before. Spell checking doesn't
So-
work.
I had to do a slaw analysis once, and that was my main problem, so just because I've done that in the past. Thank you very much for a wonderful Monday, as usual. And my other question is, and I'm not sure to whom to address this, so I'll go with the chairman. There was something about a DEP or something about, and then there was, I'm not sure, it was during the executive director's report, and there's a 25% reduction. So I wasn't sure what the price was and what that was for.
The price was 12, I mean, you can, you have the numbers.
Is this the one that I was asking about from 2011 for 16,500? So I'm just sorry, I'm sorry, which DEP fine are we discussing?
Yeah, this is a 2011 one, I believe.
Is this one? I'm sorry.
This is our letter to them.
And I heard percentages, but I didn't hear numbers on the number percent. My English was just a fluke there, Mr. Rowan.
Okay. The letter in question on the correspondence was dated February 13th, 2014 to Donna Summers, is in regards specifically to the program ID, which is our solid waste division. And this is the November 2013 notice of violation that we received. The original penalty amount was $12,000. We've reduced it by $3,000 for a final penalty amount of $9,000.
And that's being reduced again, the 9,000?
That
That's the
will be,
proposal?
we've asked for that to be set aside 75% and 25%, 75% as the SEP, Special Environmental Project, and 25% as a cash penalty.
So it looks like the cash penalty would be $2,250 by the correspondence with the DEP. They haven't accepted it yet.
This was.
And the remainder of, between that and the 9,000 would be, it's proposed we buy LED lights and hand them out at the recycling program.
Okay, so that's the solid
Hazardous
waste
waste.
one from 2013.
This is,
That's the, and that was that the, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, is that the one that,
that would be November 2000.
2013 solid
13.
waste penalty?
Is that passed?
Is that the way I'm saying it? That was
Is
the.
that the one?
Yes.
Yes.
So there was one penalty and one discussion?
One penalty, there's a few violations, I think there were minor.
It's covering that one event from the solid waste one. Okay, how are we doing on the air one, from the, okay, here we go. Oh,
That's the 2011 one.
the 2011 one. Oh, you're gonna want the activity one? It's the air one.
I don't know the status of that.
We're waiting for the DEP to get back with us about their 25% proposed reduction of that penalty as well, which originally was $16,500, but they have not yet affirmed that nor given us a recalculated fee penalty for that yet.
Okay, so then my final question is, are there any other pending New Jersey DEP issues or fines on any level with the SCIA?
I don't think there's any violations.
Any-
There's inspections all the time, and they like
But
to,
in
they
any
like to
other,
find violations.
any other violations?
Not that I know, no, not that I'm aware of any.
So we're up to date
We won't
financially?
know what they
Yes,
do with
just
this
those-
February 13th, 14th event.
Oh,
Yeah,
there
we have
might
the
be-
emergency
there might be
situation,
one-
but there's not been any, there's no violations yet.
Yeah, but there
Well,
might
there's-
be one with that other,
There's violations, but,
no paperwork.
no.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
There's one.
Yes.
I noticed you decided not to put out an economic development consultant, that's fine. But I do want to thank you for working here for 9.5 years. And I really enjoyed working in Salem County. And I do want to talk about some things I was involved in. I thought were a lot of fun, and I think were good for the county. The consolidation of School aid, the SCIA and economic development, bring that all together. I think that saved a lot of money. I think it made a much more efficient operation here. Getting the Gateway Business Park off the ground. When I first got here, the file was handed to me. We had like 30 days to get the project started. We're going to lose a $5 million grant, and we were able to pull out of strings and get it going. So I think that's turned out pretty well. And the sale of the nursing home. I mean, that was a project that a lot of people thought was mission impossible, and I think it turned out pretty well for us. Getting a check for $7.5 million, and where all the money winds up, I mean, that's all to be decided. But I thought that was a really successful project that I've actually wound up getting retained by some other people to do work in other locations. And so I just want to thank everybody for allowing me to work down here. It was great. I think great people in Salem Town. I really enjoyed it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Great job, and it's a pleasure meeting you.
I would also like to thank you when you voted as our director for that short period of time.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
We were in bad shape and you straightened us out until Debbie came aboard.
Good job.
Any other public comment? Yes.
Just a couple of, Tim Mangold from Mannington Township. The light bulb program I heard mention of, is that an exchange that's proposed during the household hazardous waste days?
No.
No, it's just,
We won't let the room go dark, we're just gonna give them
okay, well, that's good. Just wanted to know what kind I needed to bring in. And the equipment operator, is that for like on the hill, like the heavy equipment? Okay.
the equipment operator.
It's not a big hill right now.
No, it's not that bad.
The other ones are.
I know one in Atlantic County at the ACUA, who I'll put a word into them, and we can bring them over. And then, is there a tabulation of, or just records of the proposals that were submitted available for review?
We are finalizing that.
We're
We
finalizing.
obviously opened up Thursday and worked all day Friday to try and get everything together for the board packet. We do have a handwritten tabulation. We will be able to make that available to you probably within another day.
Okay, I usually like to make the openings, but I didn't make this year, so thanks.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Hearing none.
Motion to close the public portion of the meeting.
Second. Second. It was ever closed and open to the public. Second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Executive session, there's no need for that. Any other business for the authority? Hearing none, I'll, meeting.
Mr. Chairman, just one question. I called Zach and I asked to see the application for the recorder, and she didn't have that. You didn't have
The
it?
recorder, right?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, application?
Yes, the one you applied for the job.
No application. Where was I now? I didn't see it.
How do you know it's a job open there? Was it in the paper?
Oh, it's an appointment. Anything else? Anything else for the authority? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.